Hello everybody on YouTube, welcome back to another episode of What Xaldin Thinks. This is now part 2 of What Xaldin Thinks, of CW4kids. Anyway, I don't know how many parts this will take, just to make, the full episodes, so bear with me. And like I said before, I gotta, keep cutting the video, because YouTube will not allow me to upload many too long videos. So, anyway, where I left off was the part when Barbara zapped Yusei and he's landing on his back. Still, don't know why CW4kids had to cut that part, seriously. So anyway, as the two horsemen guys were hauling Yusei, about to haul away Yusei, we heard a revving of an engine. Then after that we saw a giant dual runner. And a guy riding on the dual runner. It was somewhat like a jacked up dude. He was screaming, "Yeehaw!" But in the dub version, they hear him saying, "Oh yeah." It's a frickin' Cowboy Saga CW4kids. He's supposed to say "Yeehaw!" Seriously, what are you, racist? Well, is it racist? I don't know. So, anyway, as the dual runner stopped, the dual runner produced crap loads of dual disc. The regular dual disc and the gun ones. Boy, was that dual runner huge. So as Lawton said dual, he threw the dual disc at the leader of the biker gang. And after that, as the horseman and the started about to go, he said, well, the guy's named Lawton, of course. He says to the guy, "Hold on a second, we got room for one more." So what else happened was, the guy was saying there's not much time, and it's already sunset, but Lawton says there's time for one turn. So as they started getting ready for their duel, of course Lawton went first because he drew the cards faster than the other guy. Lawton summoned Gatling Ogre, his signature card. And as the summoned Gatling Ogre, Lawton said 5 face downs. And of course, they never shown this part. What I'm going to explain to you, what they show in the Japanese version. That Gatling Ogre was loading up his barrels, excuse me, with some bleh. I can't feel like I can talk today. With bullets. I know, bullets. It's a Gatling. It's a Gatling. So what'd you expect? So anyway, the guy was assuming that he was getting ready to attack. Yeah. The guy was saying that he was setting 5 face downs. Does that mean he's getting ready for his battle phase? And it's the first turn. Are you really gonna assume that he's gonna get ready for the battle phase already? Which, of course, I'm not blaming the writer of the Japanese version. I mean, it was a really good anime, and he wrote some good stuff. Anyway, so as Lawton screamed fire, he explained the Gatling Ogre's effect, removing 5 of his face down cards and dealing 800 points of damage to his opponent, which 8 times 5 is 430. So that means 4,000. That was a first turn kill. But in the dub version, they never shown Gatling Ogre loading up his bullets, and of course, they never shown Gatling Ogre shooting at all. They just shown the guy's life points dropping down to 0, and he's, quavering in fear. I mean, how did he lose? This is like when you're going to a YCS or a national or any higher up tournament, and you're facing some guy who runs a bad reaction to a Samachi deck with gift card, and he sets those 4 face downs. He activates all of his gift cards, and then he chains with bad reaction to Samachi, and he thinks that's a good game. That's kind of like that moment right there. Or it's like saying, in the first turn, you already automatically draw Xaldin and you lose. What is wrong with you, CW4kids? Just show the part where how he lost. So anyway, they're about to, Harvard, Yusei, and the other guy who was the leader of the biker gang to the forced labor camp. But of course, Barbara was explaining that she loves men with power. Which, of course, which woman does not love men with power? But of course, what person wouldn't love someone with power? Anyway, and of course, she was, offering that, they can join the team. Yusei can join the team. Yusei refuses, and she slapped him in the face. Then Lawton was saying that he was going to get ready for a world of hell. After that, in the dub version, I know they didn't say a world of hell, but and of course they cut the part with Barbara slapping Yusei in the face. So anyway, as Yusei was getting Harvard to the forced labor camp, well, right now I gotta cut the video, so I'll catch you guys in a little bit. Well, I'm back. So anyway, where I left off was they were being Harvard to the forced labor camp. The leader of the biker gang was, pissing himself because the fact that he's gonna be being electrocuted from the neck, because they put the collars on just to make sure you will, do what you're supposed to do. After that, Yusei spotted a nail on the one of the things they were being held onto, just to make sure they don't escape somehow. One of those little classic handcuffs, something like the wooden ones where your head's sticking like this and your arms like this. But anyway, as they were being in the forced labor camp, in the dub version, they did show the part where Yusei grabbing the nail and blah blah blah. But of course, they also removed the part when the guys are getting electrocuted. I know, it's stupid, and it's like you're, scared of nothing. Like, they're not showing anything what the guy's being scared of. I mean, really. The guy just plays a card. Oh, you're gonna quiver and shake over a guy playing a card? But in the Japanese version, when the guy plays a card on the duel disc, the guy will get electrocuted. Or someone will get electrocuted. So anyway, as Yusei tried to convince Callan to, try to escape now while they have the opportunity, Callan refuses because he just wants to, be in the forced labor camp and then die there. Seemed a little emo-ish, but anyway, and that's where they had to go to the next episode, because it was kind of like a couple of parts episode, saga. What's happened? Oh, yes. So Yusei found an escape, got Callan, punched Callan, tried to help him escape, but after that, Lawton was suspicious and blah blah blah. Oh, I almost forgot. Jeez, I almost forgot to mention before I forget. There was one part I got to explain to you. I have to understand they had to edit the part because it was somewhat like a drunk party. But during when Lawton was, everyone having a good time, Barbara was having fun with the leader of the people that Yusei was working for, and in the Japanese version, he renamed the town Crash Town, which that's what the town was called, to Barbara Town. She was happy, and he signed the deed over to her. But in the dub version, he calls it Sweet Baby Dwellable Town. Or Sweet Baby Cakes Dwellable Town. What is this? Candyland? What are you gonna, do like that board game with the gumdrops and whatever you call it, land? You know that board game. Come on, we all probably know some of it. Okay, maybe some of you don't know what that board game I'm talking about. But anyway, what kind of name is that? I know you're trying to name it after your girl and all, and trying to make her feel happy. But come on, that's a terrible name. So anyway, they during the duel, Yusei was dueling Lawton in a turbo duel, but there is some part I gotta explain to you. The part when Lawton summoned Gatling Ogre, when he was doing his effect right now, even though that he didn't have much cards to use, because he had to rely on a trap card, because he only had 4 or spells and traps on face down, they changed the color to purple when they were shooting, and they made it sound like lasers shooting. Really? You gotta be thinking, in your mind, you have to be thinking, really? Really? Okay, now I'm sounding like the Miz. But anyway, you're probably thinking, really? I've already explained before in part 1 about this whole laser thing and cowboys in space. This is not cowboys in space. We're supposed to be hearing gun noises. Not lasers like... What is wrong with you, CW4kids? If you want to do lasers, do it in an episode where it looks like it's in frickin' space. So anyway, I gotta cut the video now, but I'll see you in the next part. Okay then, now for the next part, I'm gonna explain to you something else. You saying Lawton were dueling, blah blah blah. Then here's the other part, the kicking part. The fact that, now listen closely at what I'm going to explain in the Japanese part, because in the next part of the dub version, you're going to be shocked at this. Okay. Now, in the Japanese version, there was something like a chase scene. The kids were reunited with their dad, which they were glad, family reunion, but the family reunion was somewhat short. During the Japanese version, one of the guys who were chasing them had his dual disc on, he had a card, he played the card on his dual disc, thus shocking and electrocuting the father on his neck, like a dog being shocked from a shock collar. So, anyway, what else happened? Oh yes, after that, the father knew what he had to do, because the fact that, you know, they needed to change gears from the railroad tracks, so he courageously jumped over to the, you know, forgot what it was, like a lever or something like that, and after that, he was dangling for his life, holding on to his life, and Gilroy's getting electrocuted at the same time. While the fact that he had to change the gears, and he was. And this was a bottomless pit, to let you all know, that he was dangling over. A bottomless pit. So anyway, the father had no choice. He kept getting electrocuted, so he let go and fell to his death. Well, of course, he explained some sort of speech to Callan, and of course, the kids were upset knowing their father was dead, and they were crying, and Callan witnessed someone's death, and the speech that the guy gave to Callan, and the look on his face was like, holy shit, I just witnessed someone's death. I mean, witnessing someone's death, witnessing, now, did I say witnessing? Well, anyway, witnessing someone's death is very shocking to someone. I mean, who wouldn't be shocked? I would. After that, Callan beat some people up. After that, he stole a dual runner. And, of course, now here what I'm going to explain to you is the dubbed version that CW4kids did. Alright, the father was getting, I don't know if it was electrocuted or vibrating. They never showed the father getting electrocuted. All they showed was like him looking like he's in pain, and, you know, no electrical, you know, sparkles coming out from the collar. All he was doing like him hanging onto his collar. After that, they did show the part with him jumping, grabbing on the lever, and changing gears. Now, here's another thing about this. What happened was, as it made it look like he was about to fall to his death, they didn't show him falling to his death, which I can understand, but they made him sound like he's alive. I know. saying, "Go out without me, I'll survive, I'm just dangling for my life," and blah blah blah, and something like that. And Callan is like, "Holy shit, I just witnessed," looks like, the look on his face, like, the same look on his face from the Japanese version, and the kid's still crying there. What, are they're sad because the fact that their father's still alive? Or are they just relieved that their father's alive? And Callan's so shocked that he's still alive from a dangling lever being electrocuted 5 or 7 times? You know? How does the father survive? I mean, picture yourself this, folks. You're dangling for your life for a day. Do you think you're going to survive? No. Because you're going to get tired out. Your fingers are going to get a little numbed. Because of the fact you're hanging onto a bar and, you can't hang on much longer. And your body weight's going to, thus lose your grip. So you're going to die. And of course, it's not like they're going to go after him and find him and then, force him back to the forced labor camp. They'll just think he's worthless. They'll just plain kill him. They'll let him die. They won't care. Because that's the problem with CW4kids. They can edit they think they can edit anything they want and remove anything they want. Which it ruins the plot and the story. So anyway, they were flying. Well, actually, no, excuse me. I'm jumping ahead. Lawton interrupted the duel by, had a stick of dynamite in his hand. He blew up the whole place, and they went flying in midair. They somehow got separated. Barbara was explaining to her boyfriend or whatever it was, the leader of the team that Yusei was working for, saying that she owns the town now, and she's giving the town to Lawton. And of course, in the dub version, they never show the part with, Barbara showing the deed coming out of her hooters, which that sucked. And you can understand, because they were supposed to make it for kids. And the part they were saying they were married. Of course, in the Japanese version, they never explain that they were married. That's just pretty weird right there. Well, not really weird, but I don't know the point of saying they're married. They could have just saying, we were having an affair. It's simple. But of course, kids were just wondering what an affair is. But, oh well. So, that's this part. Now I'm going to explain some more in the next scene. So, see in a little bit. What's going on, everybody on YouTube? It's another What Xaldin Thinks again. Well, of course, I already explained that. But, however, I'm just going to say it anyway. So, anyway, what I was going to say was, I've already explained the whole, Callan witnessing someone dead and alive. Now then, and of course the whole explosion of the cave and blah blah blah. So anyway, so Callan and Yusei witnessed some sort of like graveyard, something like that, full of dual disc and standing on some sort of like cross stick thing. So what they did was, Callan had the necklace that the father originally had, that originally belonged to him, put it on the dual disc, and the dual disc starts charging up. And so after that, Callan vowed, putting the dual disc on, and then vows to, get vengeance or something like that, or tries to avenge the death of the father, and Yusei wanted to be alongside him. And of course, they had a pretty good background music in the Japanese version, but in the dub version, they took that part out, the whole background music. So that was the end of the episode right there. And the next, the episode, Barbara had her whip, and she was saying to the other folks in Crash Town that they need more duelists for the forced labor camp. So they had to force everyone else in that town to duel each other. And so they did, until Callan and Yusei came to save the day. And as they duel Lawton, of course, there was a lot of good parts and a lot of good scenes. But the part when Lawton used the Gatling Ogre on Callan, it did show the part he was gotten shot. But in the dub version, they removed that part. I know. Holy crap. I don't know why they had to do that. So anyway, so you say summon Stardust Dragon, and Callan summoned Infernity Doom Dragon. Then after that, Barbara came out of nowhere and decided to stop the duel because she knew that Lawton was about to lose the duel. And saying, since Lawton is the owner of Crash Town, or as he calls it, Lawton Town, that means he has all rights to, you know, win the duel anyway. And Lawton was like, yep, the duel's over. You know, I bet he was thinking, it's my town, so I win this duel, bitches. So anyway, they had somewhat like a fight scene, and Team Satisfaction came and reunited, like Callan, excuse me, not Callan, Crow, Jack, and Yus and Callan all reunited, and then Lawton turned out had a bomb in this city and blew up the entire city. And what happened was they somewhat cut that part in CW4kids. I know, it's pretty stupid. So as Callan, not Callan, excuse me, as Lawton was driving away, trying to get away from everybody, Yusei offered Callan his dual runner so he can go after Lawton. So as Callan did, that finally caught up to him. And so pay close attention when I'm going to explain to you, because this is the Japanese version, and then the next part, the dub version, you're not going to like this. So, see you in a little bit. Okay, I'm back. So here's the duel. Callan finally caught up to him. Someone pinned him down, and keep in mind, Callan is somewhat a scrawny guy compared to this guy, you know, since he is a little jacked up. So anyway, they started their duel. Of course, before that, Callan says, it's your turn, and Lawton was like, what do you mean? And after that, Callan says, the sun is still up, you know, let's finish this duel already. And Lawton was thinking, wait a minute, with this final move, I can be able to win the duel and get away. So, he accepted the challenge. The field was resetted up. Well, not like resetted, like there's no cards in the field. They just put back all the field they had before. Lawton started his turn. He activated Long Barrel Ogre's effect to destroy Infernity Doom Dragon and deliver damage equal to Infernity's Doom Dragon's attack points. And, of course, thanks to his, forgot what the monster was, but what it does is, as long as it's facing on the field, you can still keep on dueling, even though you have 0 life points. But anytime you take damage, you'll get a doomed counter. So he was about to win the duel until Callan activated an effect from the graveyard. He activated, I think his name was Death's Gunman, is what his name was. Now here's the thing about CW4kids. They couldn't just bother, you know, editing this part. They didn't do much for this part. You know, they could have at least, you know, made it look like his fingers were touching his, you know, head, or his hand touching his shoulder. Because in the original Japanese version, we can understand because it is a handgun being pointed to a guy's head. But they didn't bother editing it. So anyway, using effect, two effects actually. I'm going to explain, you know, the effect in a little bit. But anyway, he asked if Lawton wants him to draw a card, and then Lawton says, yes, I'd like you to draw a card and show me what it is. If it's spell or trap, you lose. If it's a monster, I win. Well, you win, actually, excuse me. So he draws. He assumed that he won, but it turned out Callan won. He shouted out monster effect. I forgot what its name was, but what it does is when you have no card in your hand, you can automate, either during either player's turn, you can put this card on top of your deck. And since it was a monster, Lawton lost, because he took the damage instead. And then after he faints, the sun setted, and then Callan says, I've been satisfied. And of course, during the episode when everyone was getting rescued by sector security, and other people were getting arrested, just to let you all know. And Lawton and Barbara would be arrested as well. Now, in this next part, I'm going to explain to you what happened in the dub version. So see you in a little bit. Okay? This is somewhat the final part of this episode. Now, everyone, keep in mind what I explained to you in the Japanese version. Now, pay close attention. That Lawton is somewhat jacked up, while Callan is somewhat scrawny. Now, when Yusei gave him the dual runner, they had somewhat of a chase. Callan grabbed Lawton and pinned him, and didn't say it's your turn. What happened was, in CW4kids, they didn't do the duel at all. All they did was, Callan pinning Lawton down, and then he got arrested. I know. It's stupid. I mean, in that kind of moment, Lawton could have, pushed Callan away, got back on his dual runner, and drove faster and drove away. And, Callan would have been like, oh, crap, I just, let that guy get away. Or he could have, punched him, beat him up a little bit just to make sure he can't get back up, got back on his dual runner, and drove away. So either way, he would have, got Callan off him, and after that, drove away. I know. I mean, that's like saying, a bank robber. All you have to do is just pin the guy down with a little baby, and then he'll accept his arrest. Yeah. A bank robber getting pinned down by a baby would automatically make sure that the bank robber would be like, okay, I accept my arrest, there's nothing I can do, I'm being pinned down by a baby. What the hell there, CW4kids? What is up with your editing? I'm sorry, but your editing and your thought out of the whole 5Ds and other Yu-Gi-Oh series is not really thought out. I'm sorry, but it's really atrocious. I might as well say it. Just atrocious. Well, that is part 2 of what Xaldin thinks of CW4kids. I'll have to do my best to try to do the rest. In the next episode of part 3, I'm going to be explaining to you about Yu-Gi-Oh! Xaldin. Yes, it's Xaldin and not Zexal. So, thanks for watching. Please comment, rate, subscribe if you have not subscribed yet. And leave me more suggestions down below, and I'll do your suggestion and give you a shout out for it. Well, see ya.